I was one of the first people on a fire, one of the first engines to arrive at the scene of a fire. And there was, it was pretty chaotic and there was a lot going on. And it was at the beginning of this whole incident that we sort of had this fire crawling up this backside of this mountain, and the wind shifted, and it was a perfect time to basically light a fire ourselves, to just sort of catch it and burn out a small area. The wind was perfect conditions to do that, pushing right up. It would have kind of switched right, the column had switched right over and pushing on top of itself, so we could have lit the fire. It would have burned out this small piece of ground and just basically would have put it right to bed. There were several of us that were kind of all thinking that at the same time, and we said, hey, why don't we do this? And it was a big conflict. Well, you guys don't know what you're doing. This is crazy. You can't do that. They were worried about landowners and different things, and I understand that, but they kind of hem-hawed around on it. Then about an hour later decided, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Let's go ahead and do it. But the wind had shifted back. The fire blew up. And, we ended up chasing it for over 10,000 acres. And, we could have probably burnt, a small portion of land and saved an enormous amount of land, but we weren't allowed to do that. Or I guess we were told that, it wasn't a great idea. And then they hem-hawed, came back and decided it was. And eventually it cost them pretty significantly. It is frustrating sometimes that they don't take into account your experience, or maybe that you've seen this sort of thing before, or, that we have experience with prescribed burning, and that's sort of our bread and butter, and so we know it real well, and we're not afraid of fire. And that's a big thing, is there's so many of them out there now. I feel like in wildfire that it's so fear driven, and I understand it's a dangerous job, but the moment you start really getting scared, the moment that you clam up and you're afraid to fight fire effectively, or do what you need to do, that's when people really get hurt, and that's when you lose fires, and that's when things go downhill. And sometimes it's critical to just take action at that moment. I don't know how many times with burning in particular that they've hem-hawed around about an idea. Well, we're going to burn. We're not going to burn. Let's light it now. Oh, it's not. We're not going to light it now. And the window of opportunity passes them by because conditions change so quickly and so radically sometimes on those incidents. And you have a perfect opportunity to, like I said, maybe burn out a small portion of land and save a large portion, and they miss their opportunities, and that's always frustrating. I've always felt that the most effective tool in our arsenal for fighting fire is fire. I mean, that's just it's just a key component. And I feel like because it's maybe political sometimes, they're afraid that if they tell people that hey, we're gonna light a fire to save you from fire, maybe some people get a little nervous about that. But the truth of the matter is it's an effective tool in our arsenal, and it's something we sometimes need to do. And it's not something that you can wait around on. It's something that you have to do when the opportunity and the conditions are appropriate.